Hello everyone, this is John here from 3D Create Tutorials. Welcome to my channel. It's going to be a quick tutorial on how to make a really cool looking screw real simply in Plasticity. So here we go. So we're going to start off with a basic, actually I'm going to start with a cylinder first. So we're going to actually put on the snap to grids here, and we're going to go out to exactly that one space there, and we're going to go up a few sections, about right here. Cool. So what we're going to do now is we're going to hit the OK button. And we're going to go back and, bring up the show edges. We're going to also take off this so we can see what we're doing. And we're going to go now and create a cylinder hole. So to do that, we're going to hit the Shift D here. We're going to hit the G key just a little bit to move it. Make sure we take off the snap to grid, and that will stop that from happening. And we're going to scale this down with the SS twice and bring it down, something like that. Cool. Now I'm going to go in and just take this and kind of extrude it into the space. And we're going to go to the side here, make sure we're not penetrating through. You can see the line right here. That's kind of where we're looking at. I'm going to make something like right about to this line here, somewhere there. Cool. All right, so we've done that, and we're now going to cut this in by using the Boolean. First, we select this object, then this object. We're going to hit the Q key, and we're not going to keep this one, and we're going to hit OK. It's as simple as that. So now we can actually keep this and hide it. So we're going to use this for later on. Okay. So we can take this now, kind of pull it out on the plus with a nice fillet, just like that. Nice and clean, easy to go, right? And we can now go in here and also do the same thing here, make this nice and rounded and smooth. So we want everything smooth inside of this space. All right, cool. So we're going to go now and actually select the spiral tool here. We're going to select the center of the space. We're going to go to the side here, and we're going to make sure we kind of pull this out above the space. So something like this would be fine. Now I'm going to pull this out. You see this line right here? That's kind of the ending. We want that to be similar to that, maybe right to the edge of it, just like that. Now, what we can do is we can really increasingly add a lot more, rotations here. So let's do that with like 12 in here and hit OK. Actually, that's still a little too small. We can go with maybe, let's go with 20. You kind of dial this in the best you can. And I think that looks really good like that with that spacing. Okay, cool. So what we can do is we can either, two things. We can go in here and use a pipe tool, which is this. So we can use the pipe. And it's real simple to use, right? We can take this, and this is way too small. We can bring this up to like maybe, let's just do point 12. Let's see how that looks. And you see how it's cutting in to cut into this space? And that's a little too small still. So let's go with 0.18. Try that. Again, you just got to keep dialing it in until it gets to the right amount of spacing. See, now you can kind of look to the side here and see how that's going to, create those forms into this. And yeah, it looks really nice. So that's one way to do this. So we're going to go ahead and cancel for 1 second here. I'm going to go ahead and copy this so I can show you two different ways to do this. So we're going to take this and do a Shift D. And I'm going to do a Control G so I can actually bring this into another group. And we're going to hide this one. Okay. So let's go back to what we were just doing. Grab this again. Go back to the pipe tool. And we're going to go with the same amount that we just did, like 0.18. Okay. Let's see how that looks. And see, now it created it. It's not cutting into it like it was originally, which is fine. And I'm good with that. All right, so let's hit the OK button. And so this is the first option, right? What we can do here is either we can fix the end here, but let's just start with this one here. Kind of zoom in a little bit, see what we're doing. I'm going to bring this out on the plus, not the negative. So pull it out. You don't want to go too much with it. I kind of want to make it so it's nice and right about there is good. Okay, so this is a real quick, easy way to kind of create the inner section of a screw hole, right? And now that we've done this, we can real easily, I don't want to get rid of this, of course, but what I can do now is I can go in here and kind of modify some things. So let's go ahead and do this for now. We can bring this inward with like a chamfer. And we can go back here and now hit both of these and do a fillet, just to give it a little bit more, look to it. And we can now go in and take this object here and Q key it, right? And that will make a really nice cut into this, of course. So we can hit OK. And yeah, that's pretty much how that works. Now we can go in and take the existing, this one here, and make sure this is lined up right. We can take this piece here and we can bring this into the space just like that. Now we can go to the side here and see what we're doing. We can go to the end here again. About right about there is fine. And we can also, this will be somewhat of a form. I want this to kind of get into this space here, so I need to expand this. So I'm going to select it, hit S twice, and I'm going to bring it all the way to that edge of this. Okay? So real simple to do, right? Another thing I'm going to do is, now that's been created, I'm going to select the bottom here and just kind of rotate this out on the plus, not the negative, but the plus. I want this to be nice and clean. There we go. All right, so what we can do here now is use this to kind of help cut this new option. So let's now select this and select this, Q key. And I'm going to keep this again. So hit OK. And this is just a real easy way to kind of, create a screw. So we can hide this now. And now we have a screw. Now it depends on what you want, of course. We can go back in here and kind of modify this even more by selecting this inner edge. So go ahead and select the whole thing. And we can pull this out on the plus. I don't want to go too far with it. Let's just go with something like that's fine. Maybe a little bit more. I want to get this kind of close to each other. And again, this is more like a rounded type screw. Maybe I went too far. It's going to take a second to go through this process. Okay, so I'm good with that. Hit OK. So there we go. Now we got that nice form. Now, a lot of times a screw will have a little bit of space on the top. It's going to take a minute to go through this process, but a lot of times there's, on top of a screw, you have like a space between the harsh edge and the soft edge, right? So I'm going to go in here and kind of just modify this a little bit. So first of all, I'm going to select this. Yeah, there's a lot of detail to this, so it's taking a little bit of time. So if I select this, I can pull this out and make that kind of like just really clean, connection between the two objects, right? And that way it doesn't look like it's missing anything. So that's that. Now again, I'm going to take these two and just hide them. So hit the H key. All right, so we're going to now create the top of this thing. And to do that, we're just going to use the polygon tool. So click on this. We're going to select the center of this. We're going to actually go to the top though, because it'll be easier to kind of just make sure that we line this up properly. And we're going to do it actually on 6 sides. Normally it comes up with 5 sides. So if I hit the shift key here, I can go backwards. This is normally what it comes out to be. You just got to rotate the actual shift key, hold it down, roll your mouse, and then you can get your 6 sides. We're going to do something like that. All right, and then we're going to pull this up just like that. Cool. And we could also go back in now and select these sides here like that. Pull these out on the plus. So not that much, about there, and hit OK. We can now delete this piece. And we can also select this section here with the Alt key. So select it, select this one, pull at the same time, pull it in, not too much about there. And we could also pull this down just a little bit. So G key, bring it down, and there we go. So now we can take these and this, QQ, become one object, and hit OK. Takes a second here to do. So let's go ahead and clean up the edges here. So select this and pull this out on the plus. Hit OK. And then we could do this one as well. So pull that out on the plus. Hit OK. All right, cool. All right, so now that we got this kind of created, and I'm happy with this for now, we can go back in and kind of just add a material. So let's go to the actual selection of the model itself, and we're going to hit the M key here, and we can change the colors here. We can do whatever we want, of course, but I'm just going to go to the assets first. We'll also make sure that this is on and take off the lines. I'm going to go with basically aluminum brushed, just like that. And when I look at this, I kind of want to make sure that these are not repeating so much. So I would scale that up. So if you hit the M key, but for this specific one, I'll probably just use the actual iron. Let's go with iron for now. So select iron, just to make it a little different. And yeah, that looks really cool. Kind of glossy. Let's just hit the M now. Bring down the actual, or bring the roughness up a little bit. I want it to be too shiny. Let's see here. I'm going to go with more of a, something more like that for this one. So we'll do about 41 on the roughness, so it's not as chromy. All right, cool. So there's that one, and let's start with the next one. So again, we have the prior one that we did in the outliner, which is your backup. Okay, so we have this. Again, we're not going to make this difficult, so we're going to take this. Now, the other option we can do, instead of doing a pipe tool, is creating a form that will fit in here. So we can do a simple, disk, and we can do that, or we can actually do, a polygon. So we can select the actual point here. I want to make sure this is unhidden, because that was still hiding. Okay, there we go. So now let's just see what we got here. So we got our point here. Now if we go in here and select the polygon, so I'm going to pull this out. I'm going to hit the shift key now to kind of help me drive some points. So let's just go ahead and pull this around. I'm going to go with we're just going to spin it. I'm going to go with, right now I have 10. I'm going to do let's do 12 and stop right there. Okay, cool. So what we can do now is we can kind of use the inner piece here to kind of form a little bit better design. So we can take these and kind of, go back to the side here. Let's go to the side and just hit the G key here and kind of move these inward a little bit, in and up. So I'm trying to create more of a form here. So I'm good with that. Now, if you want to see exactly, you can undo that. We can do a G key and then a V key. And this will help us kind of drive this center right there inward. So it kind of forms properly, just like that, okay? And we can now go in and take these 2 points here, hit the B key, and we can kind of just form this out in a nice plus to make it smooth. And again, we're doing this to kind of just create some interest to make it look better. So B, pull this out. Again, depends what you're doing with this. If you're going to see this up front, it's good to have a nice, clean, form. So again, B, I'm going to make sure that these are all nice and clean. And that's about it for that. I'm going to also select these here. And again, hit the B just to kind of give it more of a smooth form on the plus. so it's more rounded. Again, we're not going to really see this part. We're just going to see this part. Okay, so we got that done. Now we can go back in and we can now select it. And if we don't have a surface here, we can make it into surface. See, what happened was it kind of got tweaked a little bit. So we can go to points here. We can actually hit the S key and we can just pull this together right into the center of this space. Right about there. Hit OK. Once you do that, if it still doesn't create your form, that's fine. Again, I'm going to go to the point mode here. I'm going to go to the top. I'm going to see if I can somehow clean this up real quick. Because if I can make it better, then it will work a lot smoother. So let's just select this line. I'm going to go to the top view. I'm going to bring this down. See, it's not really straight. All right, so if you have an issue where you can't fix something like this, I would suggest going back to your curve tool. And we could kind of redo this thing just real simply by going here and kind of using this. And I'm just going to kind of use this to kind of, with the tab key here, kind of like this. I don't want to get too many of these things. Go like every other one or so. I think this way it'll just be nice and clean. Try to get more of a cylinder looking on the end here. All right, so we can go back again and kind of just like that. See, now we got a perfect face, and that's kind of what we wanted in the first place. So now we can select this. We're going to sweep it along this here. Make sure it's selected. Okay, it did its thing. It created the actual form, and we have some separation, which is what we need. So I'm going to hit the OK. Again, it's going to take a minute. Okay, now we're back, and we got our form. Now we can actually just go ahead and hide this piece right here. Hide. Or delete it, whichever. Hide this one. Sometimes you might want to go back. Hide this as well. Just trying to get rid of all these things that we don't need. Okay, so one thing I like to do is also clean up this very end again, like we did before. And we're going to kind of spin this around a little bit, because this will be a harsh edge if I don't. And I'm going to pull this out on the plus. It's good to do this up front before you cut into the other object, because there's less to do on the bottom when you're trying to not be able to see things. So just recommended to do this beforehand. Okay, so something like that's fine. So let's hit OK. Okay, so now we've gotten our shape. Again, we're going to go back in and unhide the actual cylinder, which is in here. Okay, it's done its thing. We're going to go ahead now and hide again the same shape that we had before. And yeah, we're ready to cut into this now. So let's see what happens when we do that. So let's go ahead and now select this main object here. And we can select this one here. And we're going to hit the Q key. So Q. And what we're doing is we're going to create the inner piece of this. Okay, it's done its thing. Let's hit OK. Done. So that was pretty simple, right? And it has a really nice form inside. It's kind of hard to tell the difference between the two at the moment, but we'll see that in a minute. So let's go ahead and now select the lines. I'm going to go ahead and select this whole thing and select this whole thing. Make sure everything's kind of selected. And I'm going to hit the actual B key and just bring this up a little bit on the plus. So again, smooth. I don't need to go too far with it, just enough. And again, it's taken some time because it's a pretty complex object. And it's created the nice edge here, and I don't want to go too far with it, so I'm going to hit the OK. What the best solution would be, just go ahead and take this edge here If we don't have that copy, just select that ring. We're going to do a Shift D with that. I'm going to pull this up a little bit. And again, I'm going to bring this through. So bring it into the space. And again, all the way down until you pass the very end here. And we can go pretty much about right about, I'm going to go a little bit lower than this. Yeah, about right there. Okay, hit OK. And now we can take this first object. We're going to do first this one, and then this one, Q. That should be red on the outside. And you'll see this is what it's going to look like, right? And that looks really, really cool. And let's go hit OK. You'll see how this comes out. It's going to take a second. There we go. So yeah, that really is cool. Now there's a problem here, which I don't like, is it's a little bit too, it could be a little bit more support here by making this skinnier or bringing this around a little bit flatter, right? We could try to fix that. Just try to think that one through. So again, it is a little bit farther out than I would like. So I think the best situation would have been to expand this screw down. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's Control Z. I'm going to undo what I just did. I'm going to take and hide this for a second. But what I really need to do is I need to bring this back up because it needs to be a little bit lower. So let's just do that. G key. We're going to bring it upward. I want to get past the line. So that way, when I cut this piece, it will do what it needs to do. All right, so let's try this now. First this one. First this one, and then this one. And again, hit the Q key. And this will kind of give us an idea of what it's going to do. See how it kind of is now at the edge here. And might even want to bring that up a little bit more. Or down a little bit more. I'm going to cancel. Bring this up a little bit more. G key. Kind of like this. All right, let's see how this works. This one, Q key. And again, sometimes you got to finagle this a little bit just to get the right look or design. And you'll see how this end is now. It is nice and clean. It's like right to the end here. So let's go with that. Hit OK. So I'm going to select in here. So select this little piece here. Actually, that goes all the way around, right? We want to take this line. And again, it's going to go all the way around. So we're going to go to the side here. And I want to see how this is going to react. So I need to kind of cut, I think, right about here. So let's try to use a line to help bring this across. Something like this. And then right click, hit the points, and we could kind of bring this in. I'm going to go underneath this area right here. Side view. Bring this down right there. Bring this down a little bit more right there. And let's see how this works. Sometimes you got to maneuver things. C key, hit OK. Okay, let's go on through the cutting process. So let's see how this looks now if I delete this little piece right here. See, we still got, no matter what, a cutting turn here. And another thing we can do to kind of solve that problem is just having an end piece here on the end to kind of come down. So I'm going to use the disk again. So let's do that. Let's take this piece here, G key it down, and we're going to bring it over here, right? I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. So SS, just like that. And then I'm going to bring this up again, G key. Just trying to get it close, not too close, right about there. And then I could use this to kind of help drive into this space, just like that, right? And now we can go in and kind of just select this and this and hit the QQ so they can combine together as one. Hit OK. All right. Takes a second. And with that done, now we can go in and kind of just select this. I'm going to pull this out on the plus. All right, we can pull it out a little bit more. Okay, we'll go with 0.01 and hit OK. And then we're going to do this next piece here as soon as it stops. All right, let's continue with this piece here. As you'll see, it's pretty very edgy. We need to fix that. So let's pull this out. Again on a plus. Not that much, just a little bit. Let's think. We're going to go a little bit more. Try to get that a lot more rounded if we can. Okay, that's looking a lot better here. However, it did not take, so we can bring it down just a little bit. So let's try with 0.02 tab. Sometimes you just got to kind of bring it back a little bit if it's too much. All right, that worked really well. So let's go ahead and hit OK. And that's pretty much it for that form. And it has a smooth end to it, in a sense. We can now hide this piece here, H. And again, the same thing as we did before. We're going to go in here and kind of adjust this. So we can do this in the plus. Hit OK. And we can bring this down. First of all, cancel. Let's just take this piece, kind of just bring it down. It's having some issues thinking. Because the shape is very complicated now. Let's hit OK. And we're going to do what we did before. We're going to go back in and use the polygon tool. Okay, again, we're going to go to the top view here. We're going to pull this out right on the actual center here. We're going to pull this out with 6 again, the same as before. Again, if it's not there, you can hit the shift key to kind of rotate this out. So if you want to make it specifically a certain type of style, you can do that. You can do this many if we wanted to, or as many as you want. You can go as many as you want on here. So just keep that in mind. We're going to go with 6 though on this call out. So the number's over to your left side, so it kind of shows you how many there are. So we want to go with 6. One more right there. All right, so let's pull it out a little bit more right there. And again, we're going to continue to bring this out with the face selection. Pull this out. This one's going to be a little bit thinner on the top. Kind of like, think about like that. And we can now go select the lines again, all the way down. Pull this out on the plus. And I'm good with that. We can now select this section here and delete it. Select this one here. Alt key, Shift Alt. Pull these out on the plus. It's real simple to do, right? And then we can just take this object here and just G key it here and bring it down just a little bit into the space. So now we can take this one, Q, Q, and now we have it Boolean together as one. Okay, now it's connected properly. We're going to go back in and actually pull on this on the plus. So we have a nice seam there. And we already got the one on the bottom here. So yeah, that's it for that one. And let's go ahead now and texture it. So again, we're going to same process. It's going to take a second to finish this fillet here. Okay, cool. So we got this covered here. We're going back to assets. This time I'm going to select the aluminum brushed, and I'm going to go to the polygon, the actual shader, and we're going to create the shader here. Now on this one specifically, I don't want it so many repetitions of that same texture. This is not going to ever be something that you're going to have anyway when you create your model in some other 3D program, but just for show, I'm going to bring this down so we can hit the M key here to adjust. We can bring this up quite a bit. This way we're not seeing the same repeated pattern, you know what I mean? And that's pretty much it. And we can also bring this shininess, roughness down a little bit if we want, make it more chromy. Okay, good with this. Hit OK. And that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for joining me. And let me unhide the other one as well. All right, so here's both of the actual screws. I'm going to take the lines off here to see a little bit better. As you can see, they're a little bit different in different ways. And yeah, I hope this helps, and hope you guys enjoy this type of material. If you do, please subscribe and thumbs up. So if you're actually new to Plasticity and you want to actually buy the program, I do have an affiliation with Plasticity to get a 10% discount. So just add in 3D Create to the discount code to get a discount. And this helps me with continuing to create 3D content. Thanks, appreciate all the support. Take care. Thanks.